All right, Shabbosai, good morning. Good morning. Let us begin. Today's daf is daf Daled in Maseches Bava Kamma. Begin by thanking all of our sponsors for this morning's share. To thank our Talmud Torah sponsors for the month of Cheshvan. Those families sponsoring all the Sherman Drushels this month: Stephen Tarizin, in loving memory of Steve's father, Bunim Tzvi Ben Chaim, Leah Sol, as a schus refuah shlema for her daughter Ilana Bas Esther, and for all those wounded in Eretz Yisrael. Yonasan Rachel Wolf for a complete refuah for Rafal Yitzchak Eli Baruch Ben Esther. Jerry and Sarah Lasky in the schus refuah shlema for their grandson Zechariah Dov Ben Perel Shira, and Azriel and Iris Miller in the schus of the Holy Soldiers of the IDF, and the merit of our brothers and sisters in Eretz Yisrael. Well, with that, let us begin. Baruch Shem, we have a lot to do today. Today's daf is daf Daled 4, and we are picking up Emeretz Hashem on Gimel Amud Beis 3b at the two dots, couple lines up from the bottom. I also tell you we had the great Zuchos Baruch Hashem last night. Menachem, Maishi, Avron, and Zevi and myself to travel to Daf Yomi Siyam Baruch Hashem in Edison, New Jersey. And it's really beautiful. We met a number of people, Baruch Hashem, who are part of our extended shir online. A really, really beautiful Simchas HaTorah, and it was such a, just know, like, it's beautiful. We think it's beautiful. The beauty of Torah is that we get to be part of something so much bigger than ourselves. And not just, I come to a Beis Medrash Baruch Hashem, and it's beautiful to see so many other people, but Baruch Hashem, the chevra that we're a part of, obviously we're part of Klal Yisrael, but I'm saying, but the only chevra that we're a part of, Baruch Hashem, is even bigger than we could ever imagine. And to know that there are so many other Jews that are part of our spiritual circle is a very heartwarming thing, a very special thing, especially in these overwhelmingly difficult and turbulent times. So just Baruch Hashem, just know that we are zocheh to have a beautiful extended mishpacha beyond the borders of our Beis Medrash as well, and halavai we shall be zocheh to be able to learn together, one day together, Emeretz Hashem, in Yerushalayim habenuya b'mheira b'yameinu. But let's see, with that, let us begin. So Amava v'ahever. So we'll say Gimel Amud Beis 3b at the two dots. So remember again, so far we've accomplished a lot just in our opening days of Bava Kamma, but now the one outstanding or remaining question is to define the third of the four categories mentioned in the Mishnah. So we've defined again shar as really representing an umbrella term. We've defined bar, although again, remember, we're going to delve deeper into each of these things. Hever, which is eish, and now we're left with mave. So says the Gemara, my mave. So we already saw this reference thing yesterday. Is that my mave? What is mave? So Rav Amar, mave ze adam. Rav explains that mave refers to what we call adam hamazik, represents a person who does damage. Shmuel says, no. Mave ze hashen. Mave refers to shein. I will say, now we've learned shein already. What's shein? Shein represents damage done by an animal. How? Through consumption, through eating. Now the truth is, remember again, that's the av. What's the tolda? So the tolda represents any type of damage done through the animal trying to get hana. So again, whereas the av might be, my animal walks into Ruvain's field and eats a cucumber, right? The tolda would be, let's say the animal has an itch and wants to scratch itself against the wall, does that, not for the purpose of damaging, but for the purpose ultimately of hana. That would be the tolda. So we'll say, fundamental machlok is Rav and Shmuel, what's mave? So one more time, Rav saying mave is adam hamazik, mave is a man who does damage. Shmuel says it's shein. So let's analyze. So Rav Amar mave is adam. Rav says that mave is adam dichsiv, Amar Shomer, Asa Boker, V'gam Laila im Tibayun Ba'ayu. So as I say here, so Rav ultimately quotes the pasuk from Yeshaya. And what does the pasuk say? The Shomer said that Boker has come, morning has come, V'gam Laila, and night im Tibayun Ba'ayu. If you seek it out, you will find it. That's the lashon of imbayita nabosei. Now, what does that have to do with anything? So take a look at Rashi just for a moment. Amar Shomer, Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So first of all, again, the pasuk itself is a metaphor for Hashem. The Shomer, the watchman, so to speak, over here is the Ribono Shalom. Asa Boker, Gula Tzadikim. Morning has come, and morning has come. Morning is a reference to redemption for the righteous. V'gam Laila. Rashi says, Choshech LaReshaim im tashuvu b'tshuva. Tivakshu mechila ba'ayu. So the idea over here is Gam Laila represents for even the wicked, there could be redemption. Im tibayun bayun, if they seek out tshuva. Now, what's the point of this drasha? The point of the drasha is the lashon of tibayun means to be a seeker. If you seek something out, mave is the same lashon ultimately again as tibayun. So it's interesting drasha over here. So Rav is suggesting that mave refers to the one who is the seeker, like the pasuk of tibayun bayun. Who's capable of being a seeker? Who's capable of being a seeker? That's man. That's man. So therefore, Rav understands from here that Mave is Adam Hamazik, is a person who damages. Okay. Shmuel says, Mave Zehashen. So Shmuel says, Mave Shein, Dichsiv, quoting over here the pasuk from Ovadia, Ech Nechpesu Esav, Niv'u Matspunov. So literally translated, Ech Nechpesu Esav, how Esav was ransacked, Niv'u Matsponov. So we'll say, so what does this mean? So let's take a look here. So the Gemara says, My mashma, Kidimatagim Rabbi Yosef, Ichdin Isbalish Esav, Iskalin Matmuruhi. So we'll say that last phrase of Niv'u Matsponov means literally his hidden treasures have been revealed. So the lashon of Niv'u is the same lashon of Mave, which ultimately means to reveal something that is hidden. What's revealed? What's hidden? The tooth. When is the tooth revealed? When the animal goes ahead and does damage, right? So when the animal goes ahead, my animal goes into Reuven's field and goes to eat a cucumber, so suddenly that which is hidden, i.e. the tooth, now becomes revealed. Okay, so we'll say, so you notice the drashas in Bava Kamma so far, like from the psukim, are very different kinds of drashas, right? Normally we used to like a drasha, there's a pasuk, it's a little bit more apparent, understandable. So remember again, these drashas over here are really focused on, interestingly enough, focused on definition of words. So okay, in any event, the point over here is both Rav and Shmuel bring a biblical raya for their particular interpretation, but once again we have Rav saying that Mave is Adam Hamazik, Shmuel saying that it is Shein Hamazik. So the Gemara says, Rav, my time alone, Shmuel. So remember again, both of them are quoting psukim, and both of them have pretty, they don't need me to tell them that they have solid drashas, like Shkoyach, Rav and Shmuel, good job, right? Hey, so again, they both have their drashas, so now the shaila is Rav, my time alone, Shmuel. So why does Rav, who says that Mave is Adam, why does he not hold like Shmuel, who says that it's Shin? Amar L'cha, Mikatani Niva, because again, Rav would say, Shmuel, if you were correct, the pasuk should really say Niva. Shmuel, my time alone, Rav. Why doesn't Shmuel hold like Rav? Amar L'cha, Katani bua. So does it say bua or boa? So fine. So both say the point over the Gemara says michdi kroy lo kimar daiki velo kimar daiki. Both say by the way, here's the bottom line: the psukim themselves are not really compelling in either direction. Right, just a bit, we know that, we see this. Again, we'll say if you look at the way they're interpreting the psukim, it's not like a straight drasha, right? What they each have is the shoresh of the word mave in a particular pasuk, but the usage of it is not abundantly clear. So the Gemara says, to be honest, neither Rav nor Shmuel have a compelling pasuk to back up their claim. So we'll say, so to a certain degree, let's accept the fact that they both have psukim. Let's accept that. But then on a fundamental level, let's ask ourselves, Rav, my time alo amar kishmuel. So why is Rav not holding like Shmuel? So the Gemara says, good. Rav might tell like Shmuel. Tana shar v'chol mili d'shar. Now both say, now listen to this. There's a very simple reason why is Rav not holding like Shmuel, right? Why is Rav not holding like Shmuel? Because remember again, Rav says Mave is Adam Hamazik. Shmuel holds that it's Shein. So both say there's a very simple reason why Rav doesn't hold like Shmuel, which is because the Mishnah says shar. Once the Mishnah says shar, so what does shar include? What does shar include? Right? Keren, regel, and shein. So why do I need shein mentioned separately? So the Gemara says, Tana shar v'chol mili d'shar. Shmuel, nami, hay tana le'shar. I one second, Shmuel. So what do you do with this? Right? It's a solid point. At the end of the day, the Mishnah does say shein. So why, or the Mishnah does say shar. So why the need to go ahead and mention Shein again? So the Gemara says, so Amar Rav Yehuda, Tana Shar Lekarno, umave lisheno. So this is actually very interesting. So Rabbi Yehuda says that ultimately, again, the Mishnah mentions shar. Shar means keren, and mave means shein. So we'll say, according to Shmuel, the Mishnah is just structured a little bit differently. Einachinami, shar really only refers to keren, and mave refers to shein. In other words, they both say, we decided beforehand that shar means keren, shein, and regel. Now the Mishnah comes along and says, maybe not, maybe halacha l'maisa, which ultimately shar means keren and mave means shein. V'hachi kamma, this is what it means to say. Lo riya keren, so we'll say, now why break it up into two categories? Lo riya keren, she'ein hana'a lahaziko, k'riya she'ein she'esh hana'a lahazika. Because we'll say at the end of the day, it could very well be that halacha l'maisa, these things are very dissimilar. Now, why are they dissimilar? That at the end of the day, keren, there is no hana'ah for the damage. Remember again, keren is intention to damage, as opposed to shein, where there is hana'ah for the damage. Top of dalid, v'lo shein kavanos lahazik, kiriya keren shekavanos lahazik, and shein is going to be different in that what? Shein has no kavana to damage, versus keren, which does have kavana to damage. So we'll say, so just to show what's happening over here. So Shmuel, just to go through it for just a moment, so Shmuel will just simply say, the Mishnah is talking about two different types of damage caused by an ox. So when it says shar refers to keren, and mave refers to shein. Why do you need to break them up? Very simple, they're very dissimilar. Right? One has intention to damage, one doesn't have intention to damage. One has intention to get hana, the other doesn't have intention to get hana. So therefore the Mishnah goes out of its way to structure them differently. Fine. 1 second. But can't I make a kal v'chomer? Both say for a second line from the top. What's the kal v'chomer? Watch this. Uma shein kavanas lahazik. So we'll say chayiv. So we'll say if shein. Remember again, shein is the type of damage that the animal does for the purpose of getting hana benefit. There is no kavana to do damage. So if shein, which doesn't have kavana to do damage, you're going to be chayiv. Keren shekavanos lahazik lo kol shekain. Then all the more so keren, where you do have kavana to do damage, certainly you should be chayiv. So we'll say if that's the case, I really shouldn't need both of them stated in the Mishnah. In other words, just write shar. Shar means keren, and once there's liability for keren, by definition there's going to be liability for shein. To which the Gemara says, no. It's just saradait chamina midi dahavi aeved v'im aeved ve'amar. Both say this is fascinating. I might have thought that maybe shar is comparable to the case of the servant, the slave, and the maidservant. I will say this is eved and ama kinani. Watch this. So I will say eved ve'ama is actually fascinating. Eved ama lav avagav de kavanos lahazik. Petiri. I will say, listen to this. If an Eved and an Amma do damage, the master is pater. Look at Rashi for just a moment. Ha'eved va'isha pigi asan ra, ha'chovel bahen chayiv, ve'hin shechavlu ba'achirim peturin. So I will say, so this is incredible. An Eved or an Amma who do damage, they are personally exempt. There's no personal liability for an Eved and an Amma. So listen, now watch this. We'll explain why that is in just a moment. So I might have thought, what's the Havamina? I would have thought that the same way that an Eved and an Amma, who are the property of the master, if they do damage, they are exempt. So to what? If my shar does damage, then what? Should be exempt. I should be exempt as well. To which the Gemara says, Hakanami lo shna. No. Atu Eved va'ama lav tamaraba ispuhu. Now, there's a very important reason why Eved and Amma are exempt. Why are they exempt? Shema yaknitenu rabo v'yelech v'yaglik gadisho shel chavero v'nimtza zeh mechayev es rabo mea mana b'chol yom. I will say this is fascinating. Do you know why an Eved and an Amma are exempt when they do damage? I will say, because imagine the following situation. Now, if there was liability for what an Eved did, that would mean that whenever an Eved damaged, I will say, who would be liable? The master. So you know what that means? Every single time the Eved gets angry at his master, what does he do? he goes and he lights someone's field on fire. Now we'll say, now why does that getting back at his master? Because now his master is going to have personal liability. Isn't that incredible? So in other words, so therefore we'll say, we have to, if an Eved was going to be liable for his actions, remember, liability for the Eved effectively means liability for the master. So that's a very dangerous thing, because then essentially the Eved could go out of his way to damage every single day just to give it to the master. So, and then the master is totally exposed each and every day. He has to, he has to go ahead and really be very careful with how he treats the Eved, has to tiptoe on the Eved, lest the Eved get upset, cause damage, and make the master liable. So obviously, that logic doesn't apply by shar. Right? That logic doesn't apply by shar. Ella, parichachi. Rather, you have to say the following. Lo riya karen shekavanas lahazik, kiriya shein kavanas lahazik. Rather, you have to say like this. Karen, of course, is different. Karen is different. That Karen, one has kavana to do damage, is different than shein, where there is no kavana to do damage. And of course, shein is going to be different. Why? Because shein there is hana. Remember again, shein is damaged in the pursuit. Shein is damage performed in the pursuit of hana, of benefit, is different than Karen, where there is no pursuit of hana. So as I say, therefore again, remember, this is all justifying Shmuel's understanding of the Mishnah, as to why the Mishnah would need to break up shar and maveh. So Shmuel will simply say shar refers to Karen, maveh refers to shein, Why do you have to list them separately? The simple answer is, they're different. They're different. Okay, so the Gemara says, V'regel my shire. So now the Gemara says, so now remember, I just want to point out what's interesting about this. So the Gemara says over here like this. So regel. So where do you find regel now? In other words, both say, so now what you're telling me is in the Mishnah. So shar ultimately again means Karen. And maveh means shein. Now I will say, just understand, before we started this daf today, the world was in perfect equilibrium, right? Why? Or at least our little daf Yomi world. Why? Because I will say, when I opened my Gemara today, what did shar mean? Right? Shar meant Karen, shein, regel. Beautiful. Now comes along Shmuel, and I will say everything changes. So now, shar just means Karen, maveh means shein. If that's the case, now what? Where's regel? Right? Where is that? That's got to be somewhere in the Mishnah as well. V'regel my share. So the Gemara says, where do you find, literally again, where are you going to find regel in all of this? Look at Rashi. So Avid le tana de masnisin de lo tani shire. So in other words, literally translated is regel. Why would regel be left out? V'regel my shire. Why would regel be left out of all of this? To which the Gemara says, it's not left out. Kishehizik chav hamazik. So I will say, when the phrase in the Mishnah says kishehizik, when damage is done, ultimately again the damager is responsible. That line in the Mishnah. Look at Rashi just a moment. Rashi says, "V'haki kamar hachtik tani masnisin lo hari hashar hari hamave." Right? When the Mishnah itself has that phrase, that shar is not like mave. So ultimately, that phrase kishehizik chav hamazik. When the Mishnah says that when the damager damages, there is liability. Lasuye regel. That comes to include regel. So I'll say, so this is very interesting. So essentially, what you have is like this. Essentially, the way the Mishnah is set up according to Shmuel is, shar teaches me Karen explicitly, maveh teaches me shein explicitly, and regel is kind of learned out from a phrase when the Mishnah says kishehizik chav hamazik, when the damager damages, there's liability. That teaches me that there is liability for regel. Okay, so you might say, listen to Behedja, but I don't understand. Why not just mention regel explicitly? It seems a little bit strange. You're mentioning Karen explicitly through shar. You're mentioning shein explicitly through maveh. And you're telling me now you're learning out regel from a phrase in the Mishnah. But why not mention regel explicitly? To which the Gemara says, Allah Amar Rabbi, you're right. Tana shar l'raglo umaveh l'shino. So rather, what you have to say is like this. The Tana said shar is regel. Wow. Shar is regel. Right? And maveh is shein. V'haki kamma, this is what it means to say. So I'll say, see what just happened over here? Now what we just did is, remember, this is all in Shmuel, that maveh is shein. So now we're turning it around a little bit and we're saying shar is not Karen. Shar is not Karen. Rather, what is Shar? What is Shar? Regel. So listen to this. So Tana Shar l'raglo umava l'sheno. Rather, what you have to say is like this: that Allah Maisa, Shar represents Regel, and Mave is Shein. Vachikam means to say, Lo Riya Regel, Shazeka Matsui, Kirya Shein Shein Azeka Matsui. So there's the teen. So remember again, Shein and Regel are different in that what? Regel represents damage done through the course of activities of daily living. Is different than Shein, where ultimately is not damages through daily living, rather damages through Ano. And Shein is different ultimately again because it's damage done in the pursuit of Hana, versus Regel, which is not done in the pursuit of Hana. The Karen, my Shire. So we'll say, okay, that's fine. They'll say, I've just exchanged one problem for another problem. So now what I've done is I've said, okay, Shar means Regel, Mava means Shein. Beautiful. Okay, so now where's Karen? So where's Karen in the Mishnah? To which the Gemara says, not a problem from the phrase, Kishehizik Chav Hamazik. Again, I will say once again, it's that phrase in the Mishnah, whenever you do damage, ultimately the damager is liable, Lasuye Karen. That ultimately again refers to Karen. Fine. Vilisne Behedja. So I don't understand, why isn't Karen mentioned explicitly? So we've just exchanged one problem for another problem. We'll say, this is actually a very profound Musar Haskell, which is, we'll say, life is often exchanging one problem for another problem. So you ever have like a crisis situation in life, whether it's a personal crisis, relationship crisis, and you solve it, and how do you feel after you solve it? You feel pretty good. Right, you're like, all right, I'm going to Disneyland. Good. Like I feel good. And then what usually happens just a little while later? New crisis. And it's interesting because often we become very frustrated. Why do we become frustrated? Because we think that somehow there is this thing in life called crisis resolution. That once I solve it, I'm done. So we'll say there's a beautiful Chafetz Chaim. Chafetz Chaim says in Ashi Yatzar, we say Rofei Kol Basar. Umafli la'asos. Literally, Hashem is the healer of all flesh. Umafli la'asos, and does wondrous things. So the doctors will appreciate this. So the Chafetz Chaim says, what's the difference between HaKadosh Baruch Hu's healing and man's healing? He says it's fascinating. When man heals, he almost, by healing one thing, he almost always breaks something else. That's the lyrics. So we'll say, I think like the greatest Musar Haskell of this is Rahman al-Islam, like chemotherapy. Right? It's fascinating, right? A person has to undergo chemotherapy, Rahman al-Islam, what happens? Literally, you break down the entire immune system, right? You go ahead, so you kill off the cancer, but in the course, you break down the entire immune system, leaving a person susceptible to every single thing. So I'm treating one thing, but in the course of treating that one thing, I'm breaking a whole bunch of other things. The Ribono Shel Olam is the only entity in the universe who is able to go ahead and provide holistic healing. He's that's Rofei Kol Basar. Kol Basar means the Ribono is able to heal everything. Umafli Lasos. That's a Pella. That is a Pella. And I will say it's important yesod in life that sometimes we get frustrated because we have this expectation in our head that things are supposed to go smoothly, that things are supposed to be okay, that when I resolve one crisis, and now again, smooth sailing ahead. Another big musar from the airport. A lot of musar in the airport. Right? You ever see the sign in the airport? Rumble strips ahead. Good musar haskell in life also. That's it. Rumble strips ahead, I will say. Right? That's it. Shmuel, don't give me that look. Get out more. Right? Rumble strips ahead. Right? So the nice again. Right? It's a good musar haskell in life also. Sometimes we expect the road to be smooth. And I will say, if you expect it to be smooth and then it's not, you're very frustrated. But if you expect the rumble strips, right? If you expect that at the end of the day it's going to be bumpy like that, life just becomes much more easy to handle because that's what it is. Only HaKadosh Baruch Hu can make everything perfect and smooth sailing. That's not us. So we'll say, it's incredible Musar Haskell. We'll say, look what the Gemara is doing. We'll say, you see what's happening over here? The Gemara solves a question, right? So for example, the Gemara says, 1 second, where's Regel? So what did the Gemara say? No problem, we got this, right? We got this. Where's Regel? Regel is Shar, and Mava is Shein. And also you can imagine, like in the base measures, they're all proud of themselves, right? Look, we just solved the problem. The Gemara said, okay, that's great. So at the end of the day, now where's Karen, right? Now where's Karen? So the Gemara says as follows. So the Gemara says, so now, okay, so Karen my shari, because she's a chava mazik, lasui Karen. I've listened to behedja. So we'll say, so why not go ahead? Once again, why not mention Karen explicitly? In other words, what have you accomplished? Where's Karen? To which the Gemara says, listen to this. B'mu'adin mitchilasan kamairi. So we'll say, listen to this. The Mishnah is dealing with cases of muad mitchila. Muad mitchila. And I will say we haven't really gotten into this all that much yet, but remember again, we know this. This constitutes a muad and a tam. So a muad again is a habitual offender versus a tam which is a first time offender. Our Mishnah is only talking about things that are muad mitchila. And I will say we are going to see, for example, this is actually fascinating. An animal that does shane damage or that does regular damage, there's no such thing as tam and muad for that. You're always a muad, which makes sense, right? Because an animal, it's common and normal for an animal to do damage in the course of regular activities of daily living. It's normal for an animal to do damage in the course of shane, the pursuit of hana. Those are normal. So there's no such thing as like first time half damages or second time half damages and then only third time. No, you're muad from the beginning. That's different than Karen. You're both an animal demonstrating aggressive behavior and damaging the course of aggressive behavior. That's not considered to be normal. That's not normal. It's only by Karen where there is tam, where first again, you have a couple of times where it's chatzi nezek, half damages, and then only later on you become a muad. So it's actually fascinating. So the Gemara is suggesting, do you know why Karen is not explicitly mentioned in the Mishnah? So remember, you're about to say, in this iteration over here, shar represents regel, mave represents shane, and Karen is learned out from a phrase in the Mishnah. Why isn't Karen mentioned explicitly? Because halacha l'maisa, the Mishnah is only talking about things that are muad mitchila, where again you're warned from the beginning. Karen is not like that. Fascinating. Ushmuel. So we'll say so fine. So Ushmuel. Now remember, all of this is the interpretation of Shmuel, going with the idea that Mav Shane. I ask the Gemara Shmuel, my time lo Rav. So why doesn't Shmuel hold like Rav? Remember again, Rav says Mav is Adam Hamazik. So why doesn't Shmuel hold like Rav? So the Gemara says Adam. If you thought that ultimately Mav is Adam, here's the issue. Hakatani Seifa. Look at the end of the Mishnah. Shar Hamuad, I will say, when he says Seifa, this, the Masoret Hashas actually points out, this is the Mishnah on Tesvav Amud Beis, on 15 Beis. That's what it means, not our Mishnah, the next Mishnah, or two Mishnahs from now. So Hakatani Seifa, look at the Seifa. So remember now, we're trying to figure out why the Shmuel, who holds that Mave is Shane, why does Shmuel not hold like Rav, who says that Mave is Adam? So look at the end of the Mishnah. Katani Seifa, Shar Hamuad, Vishar Hamazik, Bishus Hanizak, Vaha Adam. So very simply, Shmuel will say, because Adam is mentioned explicitly later on. Okay? So in other words, if Mave was Adam, then Adam would not need to be stated later on explicitly as a separate category. Incredible. So the Gemara says, velisni bereisha. So why isn't Adam mentioned in our Mishnah? In other words, we both say, our Mishnah talks about arba avos nazikin. So why not include Adam hamazik in our Mishnah? To which the Gemara says, velisni bereisha, beniske mamon kamairi, beniske gufo lo kamairi. So we both say, very interesting, because Shmuel will say that halacha l'maisa, our Mishnah is talking about niskei mamon. What's niskei mamon? Niskei mamon means damage done by your property, as opposed to niskei gufo, damage done by your person. Adam represents again damage done by the individual himself. So therefore Shmuel will say, so remember again, just to follow the flow, we're asking why doesn't Shmuel, who holds that Mave is Shane, why doesn't he hold like Rav, who says that Mave is Adam? So Shmuel will say very simply, because Adam is mentioned explicitly in the next Mishnah. Okay, I asked the Gemara, so why isn't Adam mentioned here? Because our Mishnah is talking about property that damages, i.e. my shar, right, or my bar, or my aish, right? Not talking about a person who damages. Beautiful. To which the Gemara says, right, beniskei mamon kamari, beniskei gufa lo kamari. V'rav nami hakatani adam b'seifa. So now we link back to Rav. Remember again, what did Rav say? So Rav said that Mave is adam hamazik, is a person who damages. But Rav, Adam is mentioned explicitly in the next Mishnah. So why are you mentioning it over here? Amar l'charav hahu lemachshevei bahadi muadin hu da'asa. Wow. Okay, so we'll say, now listen to this. Rav will say that even though Adam is mentioned later on, Adam is mentioned again over here. Why? Adam is mentioned over here. And I should say later on why, to ultimately include him in being a muad. So I'll say this goes back. Look at Rashi for just a moment. Rashi says it's the first wide line. Hakatani Adam b'seifa v'lamli l'misneberesha. So we'll say, so according to Rav, who says that Mava is Adam, so that means Adam is mentioned twice, right? Adam is mentioned in our Mishnah, and Adam is mentioned in the next Mishnah. Why is Adam mentioned twice? So look at Rashi's second. Why lemechsheve b'hadei mu'adin u'da'asa diktani chamisha tamin v'chamisha mu'adin v'kachashav luhu v'azil. So we'll say Adam is mentioned explicitly in the next Mishnah because Adam is grouped with the grouping of muad. Remember again, this goes back to yesterday's daf. What did we say? What did we see? Adam muad li'olam. Adam muad li'olam. So even though Adam is mentioned in our Mishnah, Adam is re-mentioned in the next Mishnah under the grouping of muad to teach us that a person is always muad. Always muad, right? Whether he's awake, whether he's asleep. Incredible. Good. So the Gemara says, umay lo hari. So I'll say, so ultimately, so what does the phrase lo hari mean? Rashi says over here, diktani maslisin lo hari hashar kahari hamave. So I'll say, so our Mishnah, remember again, said that shar is not like mave. So what does that phrase come to teach us? Good. Umay lo hari hachi kamar lo riyashar shemishalim es hakofer. So remember, shar. I will say, if a shar kills someone, shar kills a person, he's chayiv kofer. We'll talk about all of this in depth. Kirai ha'adam she'im mishalim es hakofer. But say a person doesn't pay kofer, right? If a person kills someone chas v'shalom, they could be liable to a death penalty. V'lo ha'adam she'chayiv ba'arba v'dvarim, and I will say ultimately a person who is going to be chayiv in 4 different types of payment. We're going to discuss this. We'll spend a lot of time on this. When you damage someone, there's multiple buckets of payment that you are obligated. Kirai yashar she'in ba'arba dvarim, but a shar on the other hand again doesn't have ultimately again these 4 buckets of payment. Hatzad hashav shebahen. So we'll say, what is the common denominator between man and shar? Shedarkan lahazik. It is common for them to damage. The chishar darko lahazik. Is it common for a shar to damage? Well, it's interesting. It doesn't say that by a person, right? Is it common for a shar to damage? Bimuad. Ultimately, again, by a muad. We're talking about a muad. Umuad darko lahazik? Yeah, is that true that even by a muad? I will say again, to say that it's common for something to damage, that means that more often than not it damages. So is that true even by a muad? It's more common for it to be mazik? To which the Gemara says, yeah, kevan diyait archeu. But it's incredible. Once it becomes a muad, ultimately again, it becomes the normal course of things. I will say, it's an incredible yisod. Remember again, also, we're going to talk, we haven't, part of the challenge of this Gemara, I will say, I know, is that the Gemara is throwing a lot of concepts at us that we have not yet learned, but yet incorporating them just in the flow of conversation as if we've learned them. So remember again, we're gonna unpack each of these. Remember, a muad is an animal who has gored 3 times. So we'll say, here's what's interesting. So the Gemara says over here that it is the derech of a shar that is muad to gore. Now we'll say, now what that means is, it's more common for that animal to gore than not. So I said, really? Really? In other words, even though it's gored 3 times, I will say, even though it's gored 3 times, there's many times that the animal has encountered another animal and has not gored. So why do you say that that's the derech? So I will say, there's a profound line. The Gemara says, Kevan diyad archehu. I will say, once something becomes ingrained behavior, that becomes the derech, that becomes the reflex. So once the animal becomes a muad, that becomes its reflexive behavior. And I will say it's incredible. Now what we're seeing is a connection between shar and adam, right? What is true for shar might also be true for adam. I will say everything is about forming positive habits. Because the more we reinforce positive behaviors within ourselves, even if those positive behaviors, I will say, think about this just a moment. I think for many of us, one of the hardest things is davening. Right? It's not hard to daven, but it's hard to daven in a meaningful way. Especially since we do it 3 times a day. No one who amongst us doesn't think to themselves, you know what, if I only had to daven once a day, I feel like I could really like bring it home. Give me like one tefillah a day, whatever it is, shachris, mincha, whatever it is, once a day, and I feel it could really be incredible. So I will say, Chazal knew that most of us would not have kavanah 3 times a day. It's not like there's something wrong with us. You think that 10 generations ago they had kavana 3 times a day? You think when Anshe Knesset Gadol instituted davening they had kavana 3 times a day? No, people are people, and most people don't have kavana 3 times a day. So why do we daven if we don't have kavana 3 times a day? And I will say, what are we doing? It's habit forming behavior. It's habit forming behavior. I'm creating a habit. I'm reinforcing behavior to talk to God. But most times, I don't even remember that I spoke to God, right? I don't even remember that I davened. Chakras is good because you can see that you put on tefillin, right? But other than that, sometimes I don't even know what happened or what didn't happen. It's okay. I mean, it's not okay. That's not the ideal, right? But Lamaisa, I'm reinforcing positive behaviors. And when you reinforce positive, I'm supposed to say that changes the kind of person you are, even if the action itself is not filled with all that much kavanah. Kevan di'iyayid. Once you become a muad, I'm supposed to say there's a good muad also. There's a bad muad, a shor that guards multiple times, and there's a good muad. I daven 3 times a day. I'm saying I'm a muad for tefillah. I'm a muad for tefillah. And once I become a muad for tefillah, archehu. It's my derech. Now it's my teva. Now it's my nature. I didn't have with kavanah. Okay, I want to aspire to get there. But even before I have the kavanah, ultimately again, there's a behavior. There's a behavior that is now ingrained inside of me. Incredible. So Adam, darko lahazik. 1 second. Is it common for a person to be a mazik? To which the Gemara says, biyashing, when he's sleeping. Biyashing darko lahazik, it's the derech of a person to be a masik when they're sleeping. To which the Gemara says, kevan dekayif upashit archehu. Interesting, will say yes. Apparently, especially when you're sleeping, since you're rolling, you're stretching out, you're moving. Since a person is maybe not as cognizant of their movements, so therefore it is the derech to go ahead and damage while you're sleeping. Incredible. Ushmirasan alecha. We're saying remember the Mishnah says, Shmiras alecha, the responsibility of the animal is upon you. Adam, Shmiras gufa alavhu. But I will say that verbiage, that phraseology doesn't work by Adam. Shmiras alecha means its Shmira is upon you. That's a reference to Shar. That's not a reference to Adam. Adam, it should say, Shmiras gufa alav. I have responsibility for my body. Well, the Tamech, Haditani. Karna, when Karna said Arba Avos Nazikin, there are 4 categories of Nazikin. Va'adam echamehem, and man is one of them. Adam shmiras gufa alafu. Again, the phraseology of the Mishnah doesn't work. Ella kidam Rabbi Avo. Litana tani Adam shmiras gufa alav. You're right. I will say again for sure. The lashon is shmiras gufa alav. I'm sorry. For sure. The lashon is shmirasan alecha. I am responsible for the shor. For Adam, the proper lashon of the Mishnah is shmiras gufo alav. I have responsibility for my own body. Amud beis hachanami tana Adam shmiras gufo alav. Okay, so we'll say fine. So good. So we'll say so now remember. So what we have over here now halacha l'maisa again. Still we'll say same machlokas, just like the first couple of days of Rav Papa. So this is still going to be Rav and Shmuel, right? Halacha l'maisa again. What is mava? What is mava? So Rav telling me that mava is Adam. Shmuel telling me that mava is shame. And I will say specifically again, according to Rav, we just interpreted that even though Adam is mentioned later on in the Mishnah, we want Adam over here also. We want Adam over here also to teach you the concept that Adam muad the olam. Good. So the Gemara says the Saz maskif l'Ramari ve'ema mave zemayim. Okay, so we'll say so now I'll introduce a new concept. Maybe mave, maybe Rav and Shmuel, you're both wrong. Maybe mave is neither Adam nor is mave going to be shame. Maybe mave ultimately again is mayim. Maybe it's damage done by water. What does that mean? Look at Rashi, second line from the top. Rashi says, "Ema mav zemayim shim shofech adam meimav l'sharabim uba achar v'natfo kelav chayva shochvan." So I'll say, so what happens? So if I'm pouring water into the Hasharabim, and then what happens? It ruins someone's fruit. Maybe that's mava. Now, why would mava be mayim? Listen to this. Gemara quotes the pasuk. So we'll say, quoting over here from Yeshaya. Kikdoach eish chamasim. Or hamasim, excuse me, mayim tive eish. So we'll say, so literally translated, it's interesting by the way, I will say, I think, is it fascinating how like the Gemara over here in Bava Kamma is quoting the most obscure psukim. By obscure, I mean Navi, right? Right? I would say it's just fascinating, but like it's these like more esoteric psukim that the Gemara is quoting over here. It's fascinating. So literally translated, Kikdoach eish hamasim. So the same way that fire is able to melt things, mayim tive eish. Now I will say, now Rashi points out over here, tiva means that when you pour water on fire, or pour fire, right, there's like bubbling, right? The water bubbles up. So babuos, it bubbles up. So the Gemara says, so we'll say, what's the point? The point over here is tiva is the same notion of what? Of mave. So maybe mave means damage done by water. To which the Gemara says, tiva mayim miksiv, does it say tiva mayim nivu? I'm sorry, so the Gemara says, right? So, I'm sorry, higduach ish hamosim mayim tiva. Mayim tiveish. Miksiv mayim nivu. Does it say mayim nivu like mave? Tiva ish ksiv. No, it's not the right word. Fine. Maskev rav zid ve'ima mave zaish. Maybe mave is fire. Maybe mava actually means fire. How so? The chiksiv tiva beisha. Because remember again, it says kiktoach ish hamosim mayim tiva ish. So maybe again, maybe mava is fire. Ihachi may hamava. So we'll say, here's the problem. May hamava v'hever. So we'll say, remember, what do we say? We said hever is ish. Is Eish. So if that's the case, if Mava is also Eish, then you have two things referring to Eish. V'chitema perushe kamefarish. So maybe no, I will say, maybe Mava and Hever are actually the same thing. Just ultimately, again, Hever is explaining what Mava is, right? So Mava is Eish, but we don't know what Mava means. Hever comes to explain that ultimately, again, Mava is Eish. Okay, Ihachi, if that's the case, Arba, Shlosha. I'm supposed to say, here's the problem. If Mava and Hever are both fire, then here I have a problem. What's the problem? The Mishnah said, Arba Avos Nezikin, right? So we've got Shar, right? Bar, and then Mava Hever, you're telling me is the same thing, is Eish. If that's the case, you only have three. To which the Gemara says, V'chitana is incredible. V'chitana, Shar de'is be tarti. So I will say, ultimately, maybe it says Shar, maybe it says Shar, and I will say, maybe Shar actually comprises two things. I will say, what's the two things? Look at Rashi, right across, actually a bonus Rashi, literally right across. De'is be tarti, Shein v'regel. So I will say, maybe Shar means both Shein and Regel. Both Shein and Regel. The Karen lo kachashiv de b'tamil lo kamar. So we'll say, so again, ultimately, we're not talking about Karen. We're not talking about Karen because, as we said before, according to this approach, why wouldn't Karen be included over here? Because over here, we're only talking about things that are muad from the beginning. Fine. So therefore, so the Gemara suggesting is like this: Shar means Shein and Regel, two, and then Mave Hever is Eish. And is then of course bar, that's three, and then ma v'hever is eish, four. So you have four avos nazikin. To which the Gemara says, ihachi, okay, ihachi lo ze v'zeh sheishu and ruach chayim. So we'll say, here's the problem. The problem is the Mishnah ultimately says that ultimately Shar and Mave were different in that both of them did not have Ruach Chaim, right? Excuse me, I'm sorry, look at Rashi. Lo zeh v'zeh, tiktani masnisin ashar umave, lo zeh v'zeh sheyesh ven Ruach Chaim. I will say, the Mishnah made it sound like Mave was something like Shar that was alive. The problem is now if you're interpreting Mava as Eish, at the end of the day, Eish is not alive. So how do you understand that? So the Gemara says, lo zev ruach chayim. So the Gemara says, Eish, my ruach chayim ispe. Fire obviously is not alive. V'su, my kahari ha'eish. Therefore, ultimately, again, what is kahari ha'eish? What is that comparison of the Mishnah going to mean as well? So the Gemara rejects that. The Gemara says it can't be. So we'll say, as much as the Gemara wanted to suggest that maybe Mava is water, rejected that. Maybe Mava is fire, rejected that. So we'll say, so where are we? We're still exactly where we left off before, which is, what is Mava? Machlokes. Machlokes Rav and Shmuel. Rav telling me that Mava is Adam Hamazik, a person who goes ahead and damages. Shmuel telling me ultimately again that it is Shein Hamazik. Shein Hamazik, good, but we reject these other options. So again, but let's say obviously we will have to answer this, or not, or we could just leave it as a Machlokes and how to read the Mishnah, but that Machlokes is still there. Let's go back there. So Tani Rabosha. So we'll say this really gets really exciting. I will say again, my goal with Bava Kamma, is, we could speed through this. You could definitely speed through Gemaras like this and just isolate that. But again, I think if there's an opportunity to kind of get the shakla v'tarya, to get the back and forth, it's not complicated. In other words, if we had especially an hour and a half, we can really, really like drill it down. So we're still going a little bit quickly, but again, I will say it's actually very sequential steps that are very methodical and very easy to follow. So I'm trying to take it just a little bit slower. So that's like a fine glass of wine. You could gulp it down and it'll have the desired effect, but you miss the entire bouquet on the palate. You could gulp this down. You could easily gulp this down, right? No problem. And again, you can get the major points and you'll be totally fine. But again, you miss the beautiful bouquet on your spiritual palate. So that's let's take it a little bit slower. So Tanya Boshia, and I will say one more thing. I know that this is not the most exciting daf. I do understand that. But I will say, again, remember, especially for the chevra that's back with us now, like, al tit ya'ish, as they say. Don't give up in this. Like, again, Bava Kamma is fantastic, Bava Kamma is significant, but again, you also have to put in your time with a bit of the more laborious Gemaras as well. So again, going to be incredible. Let's go weiter. So Tani, this is fantastic. Listen to this. Tani Ravoshia, Shlosha Sar Avos Nezikin. Oh, wow. Okay, so get ready. Look what just happened. So we just went, this is incredible. We just went from a Mishnah that said there are 4 categories of Nezikin, right? To now, and tried to figure out what one of those was, what's Mava, to now a totally different model. Ravoshia says, actually, there are 13 Avos Nezikin. Now, let me tell you what this means. When Rav Oshi says there are 13 avos nazikin, what he means is like this. There are 13 categories of potential damage that are explicitly mentioned in the Torah. When he says an av means 13 categories, 13 situations where there is the potential for damage. What are the 13 situations? Here we go. Shomer chinam, an unpaid custodian. Shoel, a borrower. No schar, which is a paid custodian. Socher, a renter. So now, in all of those categories, all of those people have liability. Now, their liability is different in every situation. We're going to spend time on this, more Bab Mitzvah, but we're going to spend time on this, right? Again, there's different liabilities. So for example, if I'm an unpaid custodian, the only thing I'm chayiv for is what? Is pshia. Is negligence. If I'm a paid custodian, then I'm obligated even for what? Geneva va'aveda. Even so, again, so that's what when Rav Oshia says there's certain categories of damages. What he means is in each of these cases there's liability for each of these people. Furthermore, nezek means damages. Tsar, which means if you damage someone, you pay for it. Tsar, which means if you damage someone and there's pain and suffering, you pay for pain and suffering. Ripui, doctor bills, medical bills. Sheves, lost wages. Boshes, humiliation. But these are all different buckets of things you have to pay when you damage someone. So you have all of those, the arba dimas nisin, and ultimately again, and the 4 of the Mishnah, Tara, that gives you tleisar. 13 categories of damages. 9 that we just mentioned, 4 of our Mishnah, 13. I have the Tana Didan, my time lo Tanihani. So why doesn't the Tana of our Mishnah include these? Why doesn't it include these? There's a lot of good Rashis over here also that we're just not going to get to, but you'll get on your own. So why does our Tana only say 4? Why doesn't our Tana say 13 as well? So Bishlam Shmuel. So according to Shmuel, this makes sense. Why? Biniske Mamon Kamari, Biniske Gufalo Kamari. Because the Bible says Shmuel, who holds that what? Our Mishnah is not talking about Adam, right? Our Mishnah, right? That's why I remember Shmuel says Maveh Shein. So ultimately, again, our Mishnah is only talking about damage done by your animal, right? By your mammon, not damage done by yourself. Rabbi Shia's, right? These extra 9 are talking about again Niskei Adam, a person who does damage. So it makes sense, according to Shmuel, why our Mishnah doesn't include El Rav listening, but according to Rav who says that Maveh is Adam. So our Mishnah is even talking about Adam Hamazik. If it's even talking about a person who does damage, why not include all of these others? So Tana Adam v'chol milid Adam. Okay, say Nachinami. According to Rav, when it says Maveh, so we'll say if Maveh is Adam Hamazik, so what does Adam include? Everything. Oh, you're right. Adam includes all of these cases because Adam is like an umbrella term that includes every case of where a person does damage. And according to Rabbi Shia, who just included these other 13, Nami ha tani le Adam. So according to Rabbi Shia, why does Rabbi Shia have to go through this whole list of 13? At the end of the day, our Mishnah says Maveh. Maveh is Adam. Adam should include all of this. Why they need to make a whole list? To which the Gemara says, Trey Gavni Adam. There's 2 types of people. 2 types, right? Trey Gavni Adam. There are 2 sides to man. Tana Adam da'azik Adam, v'tana Adam da'azik shor. Rabbi say there's a case ultimately again of a person who damages another person, and a person who damages an ox. All right, so the Gemara says, so therefore Rabbi Moshe is saying, Maveh could be Adam, that's Mazik, and again, his case of Adam is also Adam Mazik, but again, one is Adam damaging Adam, one is Adam damaging a Shar. Ihachi, Shar Nami listening Trey Gavni Shar. So if that's the case by Shar, also there should be two types of damages by Shar also. Shar Da'azik Shar. So we'll say, let the Mishnah talk about an ox that damages an ox, for listening Shar Da'azik Adam, and let it talk about Shar that damages a man. So the Gemara says, Hi Mai. It doesn't make sense. I'll tell you why. Bishlama Adam da'azik shar nezek hu d'mishalim. So Adam da'azik adam mishalim arba dvarim. We'll say when a man damages a shar, so there's damages. When a man damages another person, there's 4 buckets, right, of payments. As we just said before, damages and humiliation and lost wages and doctor bills. The word is Ella, shar, mali shar da'azik shar, mali shar da'azik adam, idi v'idi nezek hu d'mishalim. Say, but when a shar goes in and damages another shar, it's always the same bucket of payment. I will say again, whether you damage a shar, whether you damage an adam, it's always going to be necessary. I will say we'll stop over here for today. We're going to pick up. By the way, it's about to get even more exciting. So I will say what we have is our Mishnah, Arba Avos Nezikin, Rav Oshia, 13 categories of Nezikin, reconciliation of the two Amirat Hashem tomorrow. Shkoyach. If anyone's able to help, like the Shiva Minion at 7:45.